The latest. Thank you for your love and support. I'm so grateful for how far you have brought me. Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso have made us proud once again and silenced the West by signing a strategic deal with Russia. This deal is for Russia to give them the extra modern and advanced telecommunication and a satellite. We know that Mali, Niger have been battling with Islamic insurgencies. These things were happening before our all-in-alls, our saviors, our protectors, our unifiers, our most loved took power. And ever since they came, they have intensified it so that it will look as if, because they are having a military leadership in these three countries, that is why they are having these insurgencies. These Western powers have been in Africa for a very long time. And we have never seen any development ever since these people came in contact with us. They have always suppressed us, made us to suffer in our own continent, carrying our gold, diamond, rubber, copper, everything away. When these people took power, they decided to move away from the West to form new partnership with others. And they did not turn to any other person than Russia, because Russia has been with us for a very long time. Russia respects our sovereignty. When we were fighting for independence, Russia was the one that was helping African nations to gain their independence. And this is what we call power. We need to have power to decide what happens around us. We need to see what is happening around us. We need to monitor the plots against us. And the West are in shock. And these are some of the reasons which they don't like Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, the leaders that are there. And they want to take them out so that they'll put their puppet leaders that will give them the access to all the natural resources to loot us. How can Niger be having uranium that powers France, yet Niger is living in darkness? Is this what we want Africa to be? We don't also want to have the natural resources and cannot enjoy them. So, ever since our all-in-alls took power, they decided to move and shift from these people that are forcing us and controlling us for centuries to a place that will have the say to gain the power that we need to be able to take control over our sovereignty and to reclaim our power. Because without power, you are just nothing. And this is amazing. This is what we want all African leaders to do. Enough is enough. They determine what happens to us. They dictate to us. Tell us what to do. The kind of leadership and rule and governance which you have in Africa. Enough of the oppression. We are tired. We want to take our sovereignty into our own hands. African resources are for Africans. United we stand, divided we fall. So that's the latest around the world. In Africa, West Africa, Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso.
The three West African countries, run by military juntas, have been struggling to defeat Islamist insurgencies for years and have turned to Russia for military support. Russia has been their greatest ally. In a recent turn of events, Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso have announced another deal with Russia, which will see them acquire telecoms and surveillance satellites. Ministers from Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger met officials from Russia's aerospace agency Roscosmos in Mali's capital, Bamako, on Monday to discuss the acquisition of these surveillance satellites. According to Alassane Sanu, Mali's finance minister, the technology will improve national security and border surveillance in all three nations. It will also enable secure communications possible. Sanu also said the satellites would help them monitor and respond to floods, droughts, fires, and other emergencies. The military leaders of these three countries have hailed the remote sensing satellite project as crucial for their security strategy, just days after Islamist militants attacked an airport in Bamako, far from the areas where the jihadists normally launch their assaults. The attack demonstrated the fragile security of what should have been one of the most protected locations in the West African country. A gendarmerie training facility was also targeted in the Falidi suburb. Locals captured the rising smoke above the horizon while gunfire and explosions tore into the peaceful dawns. Mali's military rulers did not say how many people lost their lives, except that some trainee gendarmes were terminated. However, it appears that 200 or more people were wounded and at least 60, and possibly even 80 or 100, were terminated. These surveillance satellites will be able to stop things like this from happening. Mali's issues stem from the structural crises that this weak nation is currently experiencing. Following its 1960 independence from France, the nation has seen a number of uprisings, most of which were started by the Tuareg ethnic group and military takeovers. The political and social situation has gotten worse due to extreme poverty, corruption, unemployment, and droughts. The Sahel states stand to gain some independence from Western countries, which have historically dominated satellite technology in Africa, by collaborating with Russia on such a high-tech project. This project also indicates a move away from reliance on Western powers, toward diversifying foreign partnerships, and toward establishing greater control over vital infrastructure. Bear in mind that all this is happening at a time when Mahamadou Sana, the Minister of Security for Burkina Faso, recently declared on national television that people living in Ivory Coast have been involved in subversive activities against Burkina Faso. The minister specifically accused 14 individuals of organizing an attempt at destabilization. Among them were journalists, 2 former ministers, the leader of the January 2022 coup, and opponents of the military government. Unidentified conspirators included Western intelligence officials. According to authorities, a complex 3-phase plan was hatched by certain Burkinabe civilians living abroad. The first phase was the jihadist attack that terminated at least 100 people in central Burkina Faso last month. The second phase included attacks on the presidential palace, a military drone base, and an airport. The last phase was an attack near the Ivory Coast border. The minister said these phases were prevented. All this has led to this new deal with Russia. We can see that these countries have been working hand in glove in the past months.